everyone and welcome back to my channel. This week I interviewed Yazmin Pinchen at Showjumper. Here's how it went. Hi!
Hiya, you alright?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, good, thank you.
Good. So the first thing I kind of wanted to speak about is obviously with this lockdown, competitions have obviously been cancelled. How did you initially react when that all started to kind of happen?
I guess I just thought, it was like a little bit of a holiday for the horses and for us riders. I guess I probably didn't think it was going to last this long. I suppose it's not really been that long, but I think we're so fortunate to have horses. Like, there's so many people that, have been like really stuck inside, and I think it's such a blessing that we've been able to go and ride, and that's really kept us horsey people sane, I guess, because literally we go to the yard every day, ride, and yeah, I do think it's been a good opportunity to give the horses a break, especially the older and the younger ones. The younger ones can sort of grow a bit, and the older ones can have a little bit of a rest. So now there's like talk of competition coming back. Everyone's sort of like racing to get them all fit again, and everyone's trying to like get back into it. But I've not really found it that hard. I think I've been very lucky having horses, so it's been
Yeah.
all right.
In terms of, you mentioned the horses and you have had a bit of a holiday, how have you changed their routine to kind of mimic that holiday? Have you cut down on training or?
Yeah, we first things first, we sort of like we reduced all their feed down and just thought, let's just really take things back a bit. And obviously we didn't want anything like crazy fresh. There's not really much point to that at the minute. And then yeah, like I was giving them like a day off extra a week and like doing a bit more hacking. But we've been doing like a lot of canter work up the fields, just trying to get them nice and strong, but also like not pushing them too much. So I haven't done that much jumping. I've done the odd bit here and there, but for the horses, I think it's really important to have routines. So they've very much so stayed the same in the respect of a routine. Literally like they're fed at the same time and they get ridden every day. Um, so yeah, not a huge amount's changed, just sort of just being a little bit easier on them, which I think is actually very beneficial to them, and I think it's not been a bad thing that they've been able to have this time. It's very strenuous on horses what we do anyway, so I think giving them this opportunity, they're probably really appreciative, and hopefully I'll have a horse for a bit longer. At the end of it, I'll be jumping at like 22. We'll still be strong.
Hopefully. So what does a usual week, competition week, look like on your yards? I can imagine it being completely manic, everyone running around here, there and everywhere.
I don't know. Me and my head girl are so laid back, and we're really good friends. Like, she's been with us now for just over 3 years, I think.
Okay.
Um, and like, we are quite organized, both of us, anyway. But I think, yeah, if we're going to a show, then usually we'll be going on a Thursday or a Friday for the weekend. So, I try and incorporate her day off like early in the week. So say we give her the Monday off, then we spend Tuesday, Wednesday preparing the truck. Obviously with the horses, they're still working. I'll give them a jump on like the Tuesday or the Wednesday, and then ready to go to the show. Obviously they'll have a bath, and we tick off everything. I'm quite organized, so me and my groom will like write a list of everything we need to put in the lorry, and we'll do a little tick check each time, just to make sure we've got everything. And yeah, we try and make it quite fun. We take all the food and we do little dinner parties, and make it a bit more enjoyable. So that's like our priority, really, is to make sure we've got the food in the lorry. But it's not too carnage. It's quite, yeah, I think being organised definitely helps, and if you can like do it in a lot of preparation, it makes things a lot smoother. So
That's fantastic. And you mentioned that normally you go on sort of a Thursday night and then come back after a few days. Would you say that's changed since having a little one?
yes, so I went to Arena UK. Don't know, God, it feels like so long ago. It wasn't even that long ago, and I didn't actually take him. And the first day, I was like, "Oh, like it's horrible. Like I wish he was here, la la." And then I sort of like quite enjoyed it, like a little bit of a holiday. But there was like a few moments where I was just like, "Oh, I really wish he was here." But the real thing with that is that it is so much easier without him, in the nicest way possible. And I'm so lucky that I've got my mum. To help me, and my partner helps me where he can. Obviously he works as well, but we all come together as a team, and everybody sort of helps where they can. And you know, like at the end of the day, I've got 3 stallions now and one's a gelding, so there's 4 in total that I take to shows. And like having a little 3-year-old that like he just wants to be involved. He's like, can I pick their feet out? Can I? And I'm like, no, I can't do any of these things. So yeah, like as much as I'd love him to be there, sometimes it's actually easier for me just to like, be able to focus, you know. But it has made it a lot harder, I'm not gonna lie. Like obviously I'm loving being a mum, but like I used to be abroad every single weekend, um you know, and I just, yeah, it's not like that anymore.
You've recently had a new horse to your team,
Yeah,
Titanium Z. So how's he getting along?
he's great. He's a big guy. He's a stallion. He's very rowdy. Like you can't miss him. We always joke about it because the first show we went, we hadn't done the press release that he was Liam Payne's horse, and it was nothing that we'd like. No one ever had an inkling of, because I didn't really want to talk about it to people until it was official. Because it kind of felt a bit too good to be true, so I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, this might be happening, kind of thing. So we were like, okay, we'll just go to Arena UK, like get a few good rounds, you know, like we'll be low key kind of thing. And the minute we got off the lorry, he was like roaring, like everyone's looking at this like really funny. I was like, oh no, like everyone knows we're here now. But he's like, oh, he's probably like the most powerful horse I've ever had. He's just got so much scope, and he just makes everything so easy, you know. And for a big horse, he's so nice to ride. He's been produced really nicely, so that's made it a bit easier for me. But yeah, I'm really enjoying having him. Obviously, I'm extremely grateful for the whole setup and the team I have behind me now, and to have my son thinks he's a pirate. Sorry.
Oh.
To have someone believe in me and want to support me to go to the Olympics, you know, is obviously just amazing. So I just hope that, you know, we can push through and get there one day and yeah, get back to the top.
Hopefully, and hopefully once this lockdown's out, it'll all be able to
Yes.
keep going with it. So he's
Yeah.
obviously Liam Payne's horse. How
Hmm.
did that all come about?
I was very lucky. I had a mutual connection, and they were just having a random chat. And he's always been interested in racehorses, and you know, just wanted to like sort of get a bit of information. So, yeah, he ended up sending me a WhatsApp, and it kind of just didn't feel real. I was like, you know, and it pings up, and you can just see the thing, and it was like Liam P, and I was like, no, like, there's no way he's actually like for real. Um, so yeah, he just started asking, and you know, like, oh, you know, what's the whole deal, like what sort of happens, how does it work? But I said I'm not going to get my hopes up, you know, I'll just like reply and just play really cool. Yeah, and then it just happened like so fast. He was so easy to deal with, and like he just really trusted me, which I'm really grateful for. And you know, he just said go and choose something, and you know what's right, you can feel what's right. So I tried quite a few. I tried probably about 20 in total over a couple of days. And then I was in Holland at the time, and on my way home I was sat on the Eurotunnel just like on Facebook, and I saw a video from a friend down this way that had been to a show with this horse, and I was like, wow, that's so nice. So I just messaged them and said, like, you know, is your horse for sale? And they were like, maybe not. And then yeah, it just sort of went from there. And I knew the minute I sat on him, I was like, this is the one. Like he's cool.
He looks very cool in like the videos what you've posted. Would you say you felt more under pressure with the owner being someone like quite high profiled as such to
Yeah,
get it right?
I definitely do. I think I'd be lying if I said I didn't. And it's not even that Liam's like, you know, oh, what's happened today? Like, have you had a fence down? Because, you know, at the end of the day, he's a young horse. He's green. And we went indoors over winter, and he was super green. And like, you know, we had a couple of circles here and there, but you know, I'm so fortunate that Liam's not like, oh, what have you done, like why has this happened? I just completely explained the whole situation. But obviously I can't help but feel people might be watching, or I'm quite a sensitive person. I kind of need to just get over it and kick on. But I think as it keeps going, I'll just get a bit easier. But obviously with lockdown, I haven't been to a show for so long, so I reckon the first one out I'll be really nervous again. I just go quite rigid on him because I am nervous, but yeah, it probably is the fact that I'm riding for Liam, and it's a lot. I don't know.
So in like the promo video when you announced Liam being the owner, Liam was actually riding Titanium Z in one of the videos.
wasn't riding Tommy. He wasn't.
Was he not?
Everyone, no, everyone said, oh, well, a few people got it. A few people were like, no, the horse is slightly different. But yeah, if you saw Tommy and you saw like the way he was, like, it wasn't safe. And when Liam got to my house, he was like, oh, so who am I going to ride? Like, can I ride Tommy? And I was like, oh, you want to ride? And he was like, of course I do. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I rang one of my owners and I was like, okay, like, you've got a safe horse. Can I like put him on? He just wants to walk around. It's not a big deal. And she was like, oh my God, yeah, of course you can. Like, no, that's so cool. Like, go for it. But yeah, I really panicked when he wanted to ride Tommy because I thought, oh, I'm not sure.
So you've not got to worry about him stealing the reins anytime soon then?
No, I said to him, like, you know, I'm sure you're a natural, but he didn't even know how to get on. Like, we literally had to show him how to get on. I just think putting him straight onto like a big bolshy stallion was like the worst idea. So, I mean, he has mentioned during lockdown that he might come and ride Tommy, but I just still don't think he's ready.
Need a few more lessons first.
Yeah.
You mentioned that sometimes you get quite nervous at shows. What would you say is the main way how you actually deal with that to kind of power through? And I mean, you're a successful rider.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've always joked that, oh, I remember it was Arena UK actually, in the indoor show, and there was a big Grand Prix, and it's quite, I think it was like it was a big money show that you used to do. My mum said she was going to make a roast dinner in the lorry, and I was like, oh, that's a bit strange, you know, whatever, like, that's great, thanks. And yeah, we sat down and like we watched a TV program and ate a roast, and then like half an hour later, I'm like warming up in the warm up, jumping a Grand Prix. And I do find myself eating, like comfort eating basically, just to like calm my nerves. But I am quite laid back. I put myself under a lot of pressure, and I'm very critical of myself as well. Like, if I feel like my round was messy, I really punish myself for it. But I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, I'm really like funny about my position, and I want my legs to always be on the same place, and you know, things like that bother me. But I always video my rounds, so I can always, like, you know, criticize myself and learn from it. But I don't think you'll ever not be nervous. I'm sure like people that ride Olympic level are still nervous. I think it's very normal because you want to do your best. It's a natural feeling. But I think your adrenaline takes over eventually, and you've just got to enjoy it at the end of the day. For me, especially, like, I just think life's too short, and you've got to do what makes you happy. So for me, this is what I want to do. And I've worked very, very hard over the last 2.5, 3 years. When I had a bit of a situation at home, and a lot of things changed for me. So I had the option of completely stopping or completely restarting by myself. And I took the starting up by myself option, which has been really, really hard, but I've learned so much. And I think it's made me such a strong person and made me want it more. So I think, I think life's just a whole bunch of lessons, really, isn't it? You're just always learning and learning how to deal with new things and stuff. So I enjoy every day. Every day is an experience, especially with horses.
Never a dull day with horses, definitely. So what would you say has been your biggest learning curve? You mentioned there that starting up on your own, you learned so much more. What was the main thing? What really...
I think I've been very lucky, don't get me wrong. And I think, you know, if you can be lucky in life and have, you know, your parents back you and support you and take you to all these amazing shows, it's fantastic. And, you know, I had the best time of my life, you know, for so long. So yeah, when I had to start by myself, that was obviously extremely difficult, but I do think at the same time it taught me so much. And I think the main thing was, you know, being like knowing how to run a yard, and like the financial side and the stress as well. Like, you know, I was so lucky that my mum did all the paperwork and she did all the shows, and it's only now that I'm like, God, I was so lucky. Like, you know, I should have been more grateful, you know. I think I was grateful, but I think now I'd appreciate it a lot more, because I realize how intense it is to do shows and do horses. But yeah, I'd definitely say that side of it was something that I've learned so much from, and I'd love to help other people now. Like, now I've seen and I've done it for myself, I'd love to help other people that want to do this for a career, just to like guide people in the right direction, kind of thing. You know, if I can make a positive situation out of any negatives, then I'm happy.
No, that sounds really good, and it's nice that you're willing to help other people, because there's so many people who almost keep all that information to themselves, especially with horses.
Yeah, it's very competitive.
Yeah,
it's very competitive. I think that's another thing though. Like, you know, I I think as well, being a mum has probably made like changed my outlook of everything, but I just want to enjoy it. And you know, if someone else doesn't want to be friendly, or they want to be super competitive and not help you, then that's fine, that's their deal. And you know, but I will stay true to myself forever, and I will help anyone that wants help. I'm, you know, I would never like turn my nose up at someone and not tell them, you know, I want to
Yeah.
help people. I always reply to people on Instagram where I can, you know. But yeah, I don't know, I just think, don't be competitive. Like, you've got to be competitive, but you know, in a certain way. You don't have to be nasty or anything. So
No, that's really nice. In terms of trainers, who would you say has been your best and worst? You don't have to answer the worst trainer in horses.
That's difficult because I've trained with a few people. I trained with Michael Whitaker when I was really young, and that was incredible. And being so young as well, I learned so much. And Michael's wife Melissa was like, just knew everything, you know, literally from like little things like cleaning tack to bathing horses. Like, I just learned so much. Then I went to Ludo Philipparts and trained with Ludo and his brother Johan for I think 2 years. And again, fantastic, because I went to Holland and it was like a completely different way of learning and training and riding. Like, the setup was incredible, doing absolutely incredible. It was just a work of art there. And then lastly, I went to Simon de Lest in France. I wasn't there for so long. My dad got quite poorly, so I ended up coming home in the end. But um, you know, that was very different for me. It was literally like in the middle of nowhere, and whereas Holland is so like full of everyone, like, everyone's there on your doorstep and you just are always with your friends. And then I went to France and I literally knew nobody, and everyone spoke French, and I was really trying, but do you know what I mean, when you try and speak French they always speak English back to you, and you're like, no, 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 I'm like, I'm trying. But I don't know, I don't know, it's hard to say. Probably Michael, because you know, he was the first person I trained with properly. Yeah, I feel bad because I also trained with Corin Bracken when I was young, and I don't want to miss her out. I've been so lucky and trained with some amazing people. I don't have a worst trainer. I guess my partner, if you ever tried, would be my worst. I don't have one. Everyone's knowledgeable unless they've never ridden.
That's brilliant. In terms of training as well, do you think it's important to train yourself mentally as opposed to physically on the horse?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some bad experiences. My favorite bad experience is jumping the Nations Cup when I was 18 and in Abu Dhabi, and it was my first senior Nations Cup. It was a really huge deal for me, and like, my parents flew all my friends out, and it was, you know, it was so exciting, and everyone was forward to me. Yeah, my stallion decided to jump clear but stop at the last fence in both rounds, so I got eliminated. And yeah, that was like the hardest thing for me mentally, because I didn't know how to deal with it. And like, even now, I'm nearly 20, I'm 27 next week, I still remember the course and I still remember where he stopped. Like, it's so in my brain. And I just didn't stop crying. I was mortified, and I think the whole situation, like, it was all very overwhelming. Like, you know, people don't really care like as much to be like, oh Yazmin, don't worry, we'll work on it, we'll do this. It was kind of just like, yeah, you won't be on the team again for a while. And that's a lot to take when you're 18. And so yeah, I think you definitely need to like learn how to control nerves, and to like the adrenaline, and also to how to control like the bad times, because it doesn't go perfect every time. Like, they're animals at the end of the day. Like, I know, some days us humans, we wake up and we have a headache, or we're tired and we just don't feel up for it, and it must be the same for the horses. So I think, yeah, you've definitely got to have a way of thinking, you know, slightly differently. But I think I'm still working on that. So not sure, not sure how good I am at that side of it, but I'm trying.
As horse riders, we do kick ourselves quite a bit. So how did you go for it?
I remember straight after that, I definitely did more teams, so they must have forgiven me and invited me back. I can't remember where I sort of went, but my stallion's always been a little bit, you know, he's a stallion, and they do pick their days, and I don't really know what happened that day, but you know, but I had a mare as well, Ashkari, who unfortunately I lost a couple of weeks ago. But she was so reliable, you know, she was such a good Grand Prix horse that she would always try to jump clear. And I think I was picked to go with her to Spain. I'm sure it was after that, and we won silver medal as a team, and you know, everything sort of. So you need that bad experience to then have a good experience to then like boost you and motivate you to continue, like that's all obviously beneficial, and that's what keeps us going, is, you know, those memories of doing so well that like I think about all the time when I won the Grand Prix in Bolesworth, and I'm just like, you know, I want that feeling, I want those butterflies, and I want everyone cheering my name, like that was so good, you know, that's what makes you kick on, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, it's just, I'm not sure how I dealt with it, but I did. I came out the other side. I'm still here, smiling.
Which is the main thing. And my final question is, do you think it's important to build that bond with the horse or a pony if you've got a pony? Do you think that building the bond, doing stuff with them in the stables is important?
Yeah, totally. So I'm like a firm believer that you have to have, you know, that trusting partnership with your horse, pony, whatever you have. At the end of the day, like you're asking them to jump, whether they're small or big, fences, and like do a huge thing. So to trust each other's is vital, I think. And I spend a lot of time with my horses, more so now. I think when I was younger, I was just too lucky, too spoiled, and I was kind of everywhere. And obviously, I was to school as well, so it wasn't always that simple. But whereas now, you know, like I want to take my horse into the field. Like some of them I can't leave. Like Vinny, he's not great to be left in the field, so I'll just stand with him, you know, and let him graze. And he's done so much for me that he deserves it, you know. Like I think it's definitely important to have that relationship with your horse. And for people that aren't horsey probably think we're lunatics, but I think it works, and I will continue to have a good partnership and relationship with them.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I hope you all enjoyed that interview. I know I definitely did, and found out some very interesting information as well. I think the main thing what stood out to me was that it's so important to build that relationship with your horse. I mean, especially when you're jumping tracks like Yazmin, you have to trust your horse and your horse has to trust you. But even in general, even if you're just hacking out on the road, going for a ride in the school, doing flat work, you have to trust each other. To follow Yazmin on her social media platforms, I will put them here. So you can follow her on her journey, especially in getting back out onto the tracks and jumping after this pandemic. If you have someone that inspires you, comment below. I'm always so intrigued to see who inspires yourselves. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll speak to you all next week. See you later.